Today I'm bringing you a hands-on look at the Thunderobot Radiant 16, featuring the Intel Core i7-14700HX and the RTX 5060. How does its performance stack up? Let's take a look. As usual, let's look at the specs first. This Thunderobot Radiant 16 comes with an Intel Core i7-14700HX processor using an 8 performance core plus 12 efficiency core hybrid architecture. The maximum boost clock is 5.5 GHz. Compared to the i7-14650HX, the comprehensive performance has improved by about 16%. Now looking at the RTX 5060, it supports a full 115W power consumption. It comes with 16 GB of single-channel RAM, which is a bit of a budget constraint, and a 1TB PCIe 4.0 SSD hard drive. The screen uses a 2.5K resolution, 240Hz refresh rate, and 100% P3 color gamut spec, supporting a high brightness of 500 nits. The other parameters are as shown in the picture. So how is the performance of this laptop? Let's move on to the test data. Below the performance mode in its control center, there is a performance release switch corresponding to 200W or 180W total system performance release, respectively. In the 200W mode, during the single stress test, the CPU power consumption reached 150W for a short time, then stabilized at 120W. The temperature was 83 degrees Celsius, and the fan noise was 52 decibels. The surface temperature is as shown in the diagram. In the single stress test for the GPU, the power consumption was 113W, temperature 73 degrees Celsius, and fan noise 47 decibels. Surface temperature is as shown. For the dual stress test, the CPU power consumption was 85W with a temperature of 86 degrees Celsius, and the GPU power consumption was 113W with a temperature of 82 degrees Celsius. The total system power release reached close to 200W. At this time, the fan noise was 52 decibels, which isn't considered very loud. The surface temperature is as shown. Next, we switch to the 180W mode. The dual stress test shows CPU power at 65W, temperature 76 degrees Celsius, and GPU power at 113W, temperature 78 degrees Celsius. As shown in the chart, the fan noise dropped to around 49 decibels, slightly lower than the 200W mode. The total performance release dropped to 179W. Compared to machines in the same class, both the noise and performance release are quite good. The noise doesn't have a loud whining pitch, and the temperatures dropped slightly as well. In both modes, the surface heat is concentrated in the F9 and F10 key areas on the keyboard. After the stress tests, let's look at theoretical performance. We found a 14650HX machine to compare. You can see that the Thunderobot Radiant 16 scored 2,068 points in R23 single core, and the multi-core score reached 28,109 points. Compared to the 14650HX, the single core performance improved by about 6%, while the multi-core performance saw a massive improvement of about 23%. So the conclusion is clear. The Intel Core i7-14700HX holds a double advantage in both single-core and multi-core performance over the 14650HX. In the R23 loop test, under the 200W mode, this Intel Core i7-14700HX started strong at 28,017 points in the first run and eventually stabilized around 26,100 points. After switching to the 180W mode, the first run hit nearly 28,000 points. The start of the run is equivalent to turning on the performance mode, eventually averaging around 25,300 points. In the 3D Mark theoretical tests, whether closed or with performance release enabled, the time spy score was in the 12,000s range. Among the 5060 models that haven't been factory overclocked, this belongs to a normal performance level. On the productivity front, in the UL Procyon Office test, the Radiant 16 scored 7,849 points, pulling a gap of about 23%. Outlook also saw a relative improvement of 19%. These two test items require strong single-core high-frequency performance and responsiveness. Compared to the 14650HX, the Intel Core i7-14700HX appears much more capable in the Microsoft Office suite. Image editing performance compared to the 14650HX leads by an average of about 11 to 29%. The LRC score is particularly eye-catching, pulling a gap of nearly 1,000 points. And for video editing, undoubtedly, the 5060 completely beats the 4060, running nearly 30% ahead in scores. For the following game test segment, we used the 200W mode and compared it against a laptop with the 14650HX plus 4060 combo. In League of Legends Online, the 14700HX relied on its ample cores and threads and an L3 cache that is 10% larger than the 14650HX, achieving close to 500 average FPS, pulling a gap of about 17%. CS2 also obtained a more stable low frame rate performance. AAA titles also had certain advantages. The average frame rate improvements were quite high, especially in Tomb Raider, where the 1% low frames improved by about 46%. At 2K resolution, the 14700HX continues to lead in scores for online games. CS2 average FPS were relatively close, but the low frame rate was higher. AAA games also saw small improvements. We also specifically tested the newly crowned TGA Game of the Year from December 12, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Light and Shadow, Expedition 33. Although this is a turn-based game, whether it's the visual effects or particle effects, it is a top-tier masterpiece. For this, we set the graphics to the high preset, turned off frame generation and DLSS, as well as ray tracing to test the frame rate at 1080p and 2K resolutions. First, looking at 1080p resolution, the native graphics low frame was less than 50. After turning on automatic frame generation, the average FPS reached around 130 and the low frame rose to 60 FPS levels. It is already pleasantly playable. After turning on 2x frame generation, the average FPS didn't change much, but the low frame reached around 76 FPS, further stabilizing the game's fluency. At 2K resolution, the native graphics average FPS and low FPS were similarly pitiful, accompanied by a noticeable tearing sensation. After turning on automatic frame generation, the average FPS pulled directly up by 40 frames, but the low frame was still in a state of not exceeding 50 frames. This implies that in complex combat scenes, it might still feel a bit strained. We pulled it directly to 2x and the low frame finally stabilized at the smooth benchmark of 60 FPS. Having watched the theoretical performance and gaming tests, let's look at the exterior of this Thunderobot Radiant 16. The A-side, lid, uses high-strength aluminum alloy paired with 150 grit precision sandblasting technology. Having gone through 23 processes, it creates an extreme matte black texture. This design breaks the limitation of second-tier brands generally using plastic materials or simple metal treatments and truly realizes a chassis texture comparable to first-tier brands. At the same time, the overall viewing experience is minimalist. The touch feel is also very smooth. In the center is Thunderobot's COM RGE logo. The B-side, screen bezel, is the standard 16:10 narrow bezel screen. This 16-inch 2.5K 240Hz IPS matte screen has 9-zone brightness measurements as shown. The maximum is 550 nits, the minimum is 469 nits, averaging around 515 nits. In terms of brightness, the performance is excellent. P3 color gamut coverage measured 98% with an average delta E of 2.09. The 720p webcam is above the screen. The C-side, keyboard deck, keyboard uses a standard layout with full-sized arrow keys that are shifted downwards. It supports 4-zone RGB backlighting. The overall typing feel is standard. The power button on the upper right doubles as a performance mode shortcut key, allowing one-touch intelligent optimization of system dynamic resource allocation to quickly switch performance modes. The ports are mainly concentrated at the rear of the chassis. They are a standard DC power port, a 10 gigabits full-function Type-C connector, an HDMI 2.1 FRL port, a 10 gigabits USB Type-A port, and an RJ45 gigabit Ethernet port. On the left and right sides of the chassis, there is a 5 gigabits USB Type-A port respectively. Additionally, the left side near the bottom has a separate 3.5mm headphone jack. In daily use of the gaming laptop, you can connect a keyboard, mouse, and controller simultaneously without worrying about expansion issues. The D side, bottom, features traditional plastic bite flour processing. At this price point, that's actually fine. The machine is 25mm thick at the rear and 26mm thick at the front. The bare machine weight measured about 2.54 kilograms. The original 230-watt 3-stage power adapter weighs roughly 660 grams. The total travel weight comes in at just over 3.2 kilograms. The C port at the rear also supports 100W PD charging, so you don't need to worry when going out to the library or on a business trip. Moreover, the Thunderobot Radiant 16 also supports user-defined boot screens, meeting users' needs for personalization. The BIOS interface is also aesthetically simple. The operation is intuitive and convenient while not lacking rich system setting options. After removing the 11 screws on the bottom D cover and running a pry tool around the USB port around the edge, you can remove the back cover. What greets the eyes is the Thunderobot Radiant 16 wind-driven 5 heat pipe cooling module, adopting a traditional 4-outlet design. Below the left fan is a dual M.2 228 hard drive slot. The slot comes pre-installed with a YMTC PC411 1TB solid-state drive. The PCIe 4.0x4 specs measured speeds are as shown. On the right are dual SOI DIMM RAM slots. Pre-installed is a single 16GB DDR5 5600 stick from Thunderobot's own brand. Measured speeds are as shown. The wireless network card under the heat pipe is MediaTek's MT7920, supporting Wi-Fi 6. Directly below is an 80 watt-hour battery. At 150 nits brightness using UL Procyon Office, the measured battery life was 4 hours and 2 minutes. On the HX platform, this actually belongs to a normal level. To sum up, the Thunderobot Radiant 16 didn't compromise on screen, cooling, or build quality just for extreme price to performance. Equipped with the Intel Core i7-14700HX and the 200W peak mode option, it switches flexibly between wild performance and quiet office work. It also has a decent cooling module and a metal A-side with good texture. Okay, that's the end of this review. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.